All the news, all the noise around at the moment is obviously around the Dolphins and trying to secure and land that big fish. We've spoken about it all year now. Unexpectedly, or maybe expectedly, the Bunnies, Latrell Mitchell has now become number one or number two target.
Number two.
Number two, and it's Wayne Bennett, the ex-Rabbitohs coach, who is trying to lure the Rabbitohs player to his club, Kenty.
Surprise, surprise, hey? Old Wayne, who never poaches players from his former clubs, is throwing his hat in the ring for Latrell Mitchell. Look, I still think the whole story is a cook-up. I don't think the Dolphins are genuinely interested in. I think it's a tactic designed to put pressure on Munster to say to him, if you don't hurry up and sign with what we're going to offer, the money won't be there because we'll give the money to Latrell. So I think that's where it's at. But look, this is the background politics that get played in rugby league. Wayne has got this shiny image at the moment, the way he recruits and negotiates and all the rest of which I don't quite agree with. You've only got to go back to last year when he signed with the Dolphins, where he said he wouldn't take any players out of South Sydney, and here he is now looking at their best player.
Kenty, he's entitled to have a look at Latrell, though. You think
I've got no problem.
Yeah, you think back 2-3 years ago, Latrell was basically marched out of eastern suburbs, the Roosters, when he wouldn't accept the $800,000. And he got a $1.1 million offer from the West Tigers, but then Wayne Bennett came in, gave him a hug, $800,000.
Oh, Buzz, come on.
No, hang on, just let me finish. And in those 2 years, they forged as tight a coach-player relationship as you can get. You know that's the case.
That's not what, no issue with that. No issue.
He's got a great relationship with Jason Demetrio.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but what I'm saying is...
I would say their bond's as tight as his bond was with Wayne. Jason went up to the farm at Taree and spent time with him last year before he even became coach. They're very close. It's wasted energy for Wayne because Latrell's not leaving South Sydney. They're going to pay him what they think he's worth.
Well, what's he worth, Rudy?
Well, he's worth at least $1 million, potentially more, depending on what the salary is.
Have you spoken to Blake Solly about that?
I spoke to Blake today about it, and they're obviously talking to him at the moment, and they recognise that he's a guy they need to keep. And I was there on Monday when Latrell spoke. Pete used those quotes today that I got from Latrell saying, won't be anyone's second choice. He has no desire to go anywhere. He loves South, and you can see it in the way he's playing at the moment. I mean, he loves where he's at the moment. He loves the club.
Where's it come from then, Rudy? Where's this? Do you think it's Wayne playing silly buggers? Like I do.
Well, I think Pete's gone to him. Pete Padel's gone to him, and Wayne's
gone to him.
Well, being Wayne, he's a bit mischievous, and he's probably enjoying stirring South up a little bit.
All we need is Dobbo to come in now too.
Look, I've got no doubt Wayne's been mischievous. As I said, it's a tactic. Yeah, we've only got to go back to last year. Though. Wayne's. You want something?
There you go.
I was just going to say, Wayne's built his reputation on being this fellow of integrity, and he's done a lot of good for a lot of people. But this myth that he's got going around the game that he doesn't pinch players from his previous clubs is a myth. And look, he's not the only coach that does it, but he does it.
Well, interestingly, back in October of last year, Bennett was adamant he had no history of taking big-name players from clubs he'd previously coached.
Go and have a look at the clubs I've coached at, and go and have a look at how many players I've taken from the club that I left. And if you look at, at South Sydney, for example, Jaden Searle and Pat Mago were both cast out by the Broncos. The Broncos didn't want them. Darius Boyd followed me for a decade because the Broncos didn't want him. Okay, so I have no history of taking major players from any club.
Well, look, let's talk about when he left St George Illawarra to go to Newcastle. He took Bo Scott with him. He took Alex McKinnon with him. Took Darius Boyd with him. Now we know Darius is a surrogate child, but Darius, he always brings up how the Broncos didn't want Darius, and that's why Darius followed him around. But St George Illawarra certainly wanted Darius. Took Jeremy Smith with him. A whole host of St George, gutted St George, and took it to Newcastle. And players do follow him around, but there's no doubt he also induces players to follow him. And that's part of it. Now, and again, it's not any different from what other coaches do, okay? Just don't sell yourself as this holier-than-thou guy that doesn't actually do those sorts of things. And there's no doubt he'd be looking at South Sydney's roster now.
It's negligent of him if he isn't looking at Latrell.
That was my point.
Yeah.
That was, it's no certainty.
no one
You admitted on
disagrees
this
with
show
that, but
last
you just
night.
heard his own words how he doesn't
look,
do it.
Yeah, I know that, and that was crap what he said then, right?
Thank
but
you.
what I'm saying is, and Braith, you were here last night saying the chances of Cameron staying in Melbourne have increased as a result of that meeting. Now, he's entitled to go after Latrell as hard as he wants.
Do you think he's genuinely trying to get Latrell? Or do you think it's a device to try and put pressure now on Munster to sign?
Look, I don't know, but I don't agree it's an attempt to unsettle South. I don't agree with that.
It's an attempt to put pressure on Munster. That's what it's about. It's about driving Munster into the Dolphins' hands.
Would this be the first time this has happened in rugby league? It happens.
It does unsettle South.
Yeah.
So whether it's designed to or not, it does.
And they're about to play the finals.
Well, they're about to play two crucial games that'll determine whether they even get in the finals.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have an issue. If he misses Munster, I'm sure he'll have a go at Latrell.
Yeah.
I just think it's a waste of time. That's my point.
I'm with you, Rudy.
Latrell's not going anywhere.
He's that happy. And we've spoken about it all week on the show, how happy he is, how confident he is, and it's a breath of fresh air. You've said it too. Be honest, do you think he's going to go there?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't mind Wayne having a whack at him.
Yeah.
I think he's entitled to. I think they're really, really close. And if Wayne's not chasing that calibre player like him and Cameron, Wayne's not doing his job.
But Buzz, he's got one left. Munster's the last cab off the rank. As far as the Dolphins, when they first came back, was about we will sign a marquee player. We have Wayne Bennett here, the Pied Piper. He's going to bring the players. They have not yet landed one marquee player. They've missed every marquee player they've gone for. So now that after yesterday's news, where the Dolphins. Let me ask you this.
We're back.
Well, we are back.
We're back. We've found a way back.
So your meeting went very well yesterday, Matt Tripp and Rodsky.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
And we spoke. Did the Dolphins have any indication how well that meeting went? As far as you know.
I would say they would by now, yeah.
There we go. And there you go. So this is the rearguard action. We need to find another way to put pressure on Munster now to come, because you know what? He's now more chance of staying there in Melbourne. So what we need to do is we need to find a way to put more pressure on him to get into our club. This is what it's a
But
tactic.
you know what? This is good for Latrell, because I will go as far as saying he deserves Nathan Cleary money, 1.3. Not just because he's a great fullback, because he's a superstar, he's a turnstile clicker. He tells to people, turn the TV on, watch me.
Yeah, I got no problem.
He'll get it. He'll get it at South.
Yeah,
He'll get it.
that's why I was surprised you said $1 million.
Well, I'm saying, no, I said at least $1 million. And I said, depends what the cap is. I mean, that'll cause issues for South if they've got to go that high for Latrell, because they've got some guys they've got to sign as well.
They are trying to maneuver their cap a bit, but the priority's got to be Latrell.
Well, he's got to be number one, obviously. But
the conflict there is that the partnership with management with Cody as a package deal. I've said this on the show before. If I'm Latrell, as much as they're good mates and they've got the same agent, I don't want to be packaged with Cody. Different levels, different timing of their career, different opportunities, different players. That's going to be at his detriment, Latrell, if he does do that.
Well, we've spoken about that dilemma for South, isn't it? Because they've got to try and somehow separate those two deals, because you want to sign Latrell for 3-4 years if you can. Whilst Cody's 32, 30.
And the other danger, and this is not, I'm not putting this on their management right now, but the other danger is if the club's got, for example, $2 million to spend there, and they're going to give you 1.1 and you 9, okay, and the same manager's organise it, and he says, well, hang on, this guy doesn't want 9, he wants 950. They'll often snip the 50 out of this guy's contract. And that happens all around the game. And that's why I always talk to these players, and you've got to give them warning to just also have your own conversation with the club, because that happens too often in the game. And that's why it's a danger when you go as a joint management, try to do a joint deal with the club. You can the lower end bloke often gets more than he should.
The great game of rugby league. We wait with anticipation to see how
this is the dirty politics
all the
of the
pieces
game,
of the puzzle come together.
Look, but let's be fair to him. It goes on in the game. We know it goes on in the game. It's not spoken about in polite company, but it does happen. And this whole thing's a cook-up, all designed to get Munster to the Dolphins.
They'll land a big fish eventually, the Dolphins. They'll get someone.
They sure will, sooner or later.
Maybe.